Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So on today's video, I'm going to speak about when the markets are going to crash. Now, this is not a prediction video. I'm going to show you macro data and going to explain it to you systematically why the markets might take a while to crash from this point and why there is so much fuss being created. This is an important video for two reasons. Number one is that you might be sitting on a lot of profits. Agar aapne last 1.5, 2 years, you have invested money in the stock market, you would have made very good gains. So natural question comes, I have made like 30% profits, all that stuff. Should I book some profits? Okay, this is question one. Question two is that you might be sitting on a lot of idle money. Okay, so idle money means कि कुछ आपको पता नहीं चल रहा कि क्या करना है, right? I mean, FD बना के डाल रखी है, yeah, whatever. Like, I mean, you're just not able to understand where to put new money, and this is a challenge that you might be facing. So this video will help you give some resolution to these 2 points. I might do some stock-specific commentary also. Now, the reason for making this video is very simple, that I run a community called as Wisdom Hatch. Now, this is India's biggest community of investors right now. And every day I keep on getting the question, कि Akshat, you know what? There is an economist called as Harry Dent. उन्होंने ये बोल दिया that market is going to correct badly. Even like 2008 recession उसके सामने बच्चा लगता है, okay? And 98% crash होने वाला है Nvidia and 92% drop होने वाला है Nasdaq, okay? So हवा निकल गई लोगों की, right? And it's the bubble of all bubbles have been formed, all this stuff. So भाई इतना डरा दिया लोगों ने, gloom and doom guys आ गए, बर्बाद हो जाएंगे, right? On the flip side, even sophisticated investors pick up points of Mr. Warren Buffett, and this is what Mr. Warren Buffett is doing, that Mr. Buffett is sitting on record cash. Okay, he has sold some of his positions on Apple, and he's sitting on cash pile of nearing $200 billion. Okay, so बस दबा के राइट, I mean problem लग रही है. Nvidia and Warren Buffett are hoarding cash right now. Now, if you read these type of headlines, you will panic, you will sell your stocks, you will go away, and yeah, that might not be very intelligent. Okay. Now, why am I saying it? For this, you need to take a look at this Nifty chart. And इसको आप de facto समझना, right? What is the meaning of de facto? De facto means practically समझना इस point को, okay? And this is an important radical point that I'm making. Many of you might not agree with it, but this is the beauty of investing, that if you see logic in things that other people are not seeing, then chances of you making more money is much higher, okay? So if you actually take a look from this year, this is year 2000 roughly, right? यहाँ से one could argue that markets have been in a bull run. Okay. Now, what is the meaning, technical meaning of bull run? Bull run simply means that the markets have given a breakout of above 20%. This is how we define bull run, and bear run means कि अच्छा correction हो चुका है from its top by more than 20%. Now, ये technical definition छोड़ दो, because there are times during this phase when markets have gone down 40-50%. यहाँ गिरा था. This was the COVID crash, 40-50%. यहाँ पे 66% था, यहाँ पे 50-50% था, यहाँ पे भी 20% plus था, right? So all these phases, yes, markets have gone down in phase 1, 2 and 3. But again, if you zoom out and take a look at this entire chart, भाई वो ऐसे भागा है chart, okay? Now, the point that I'm trying to make is that, see, there are two set of audiences, okay? The first set of audiences that we will keep on timing the market, कि अभी निकाल लेते हैं, वापस चले जाएंगे थोड़े टाइम में, गिर जान दो, all that stuff. Second is that people who will de facto understand this chart, understand the reason why there has been somewhat of a secular bull run. मैं तो उसको de facto secular bull run बोलूँगा, कि in the last 25 odd year, market has not really gone down. There have never been a phase of 5 years or more where you put in some money even in bulk and lost that money, so to say, okay? So that has not been the case, okay? So please remember this. This is a second more important point. The conclusion being that, hey, at this juncture, you might be again taking a look at this chart कि यार market is at an all-time high. मेरे पास पैसा पड़ा हुआ है, लगाऊं नहीं लगाऊं, risk लग रही है, all that in the market. See, the chances are that you might lose more money by waiting for a market correction. Then you will lose money at least on a 5-year basis if you just simply choose to invest right now, okay? Now, this is not a push कि आपको करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए, because that comes out at your portfolio construction stage, which I'll not be able to comment, but I'm just trying to show you some useful picture here, okay? So this is literally point number 1. Now, let me explain 4 or 5 more points, right? And इसके लिए what I will do is that I will just quickly help you understand the history of market crashes, right? So this is like a very good chart, and this will help you understand and see this picture more, right? So again, let's go back to this phase, this entire phase, okay? Now, this is, one could argue, one of the best performing asset classes in the last how many years? In the US, this has been performing since 1950, okay? So this is like absolute crazy. Yes, there was this phase, जिसको आप बोल सकते हो कि this was a substantial sideways phase. This was the 1960s to 1980s, right? But 1980s के बाद there has never been a phase where people have lost money in US stock market by investing. Now, India की इतनी लंबी history नहीं है of the stock market, so I can't do this analysis, but there is a very strong correlation between US's stock market and India's stock market. जो भी US में होता है वैसे ही इंडिया में भी होता है, because India is somewhat contingent on US dollar. Now, almost 60 to 80%, depending on how you are seeing it, almost that level of world trade happens in US dollar denomination. So there is a very, very strong correlation between the US stock market and India's stock market. So पहला point तो आप ये note down कर लें कि भाई देखो ये एक बेकार फेज था, इसके बाद कुछ ऐसा हुआ मार्केट में that the stock market has become a rocket for last how many years? For at least for the last 40 years. Okay. Now, if this is the singular bet that you're taking, कि okay, I'm like 30 years old right now, let me paint a picture for 40, 50 years, okay? अगर मैं इस हिसाब से देख रहा हूँ, then what should I like really think about, okay? So, and how should I process this information because I see so much gloom and doom, or what data points should I look at, okay? So see, there are two levels of informations that you need to see. Number one, whenever you are reading this type of news कि Warren Buffett ने बेच दिया अपना portfolio, this, that stuff, at least go and check what he is actually doing. So this is his overall portfolio and overall AUM. AUM means that how big was his portfolio as per different quarters. So 2022 से डेटा देख लेते हैं. So he was sitting on $363 billion. अभी वो कितने पे हैं उनका मार्केट में? $331 billion. भाई उनको इतनी डर लग रहा होता तो you would have sold everything. No, he would have at least cut his position by like 40, 50, 60%. Okay. So 50, 60% तो काट लेते. उन्होंने कितना काटा अपना पोर्टफोलियो? मात्र like 5-7% काटा होगा, right? That's the simple point. Now this is point one, but people are creating unnecessary panic कि भाई वॉरेन बफेट जी ने बोल दिया कि निकल रहे हैं कैश में, this that stuff. People just process that in a very irrational way. That what exactly is it that Mr. Warren Buffett is doing? So he has something called as cash positions, right? And he has something called as AUM, which I just showed you, right? His AUM has barely shrunk by like 5-7% from its peak in 2022. Okay. He is building up this cash position. There is nothing wrong, right? So what he is doing is that he is building something called as opportunity money. Okay, opportunity money. Now this is very important in order to explore opportunities. Now what is the meaning of exploring opportunities? वो भी मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. For example, here is a post that I had done on Tarsans, right? Now Tarsans started to give a run up. It became like a rocket. In a day it gave like very good run up. Similarly, I had posted about this, about Delta Corp, and in one day it gave like very good run up. These were all opportunities. These type of opportunities keep on coming out in the market. And if you have cash sitting on the sidelines, you can always deploy this cash into these type of opportunities and make some quick gains. So this is the first utility of having a cash portfolio. What people confuse is, कि what, Warren Buffett ने अपना stock market portfolio ही बेच डाला, right? AUM he has sold and he's out of the market so much money, right? And he has converted all that money into cash. He is not doing that. This is the advanced point that you need to understand. And in order to understand all these things, you have to educate yourself about the stock market. Okay. I do run courses in case you are a beginner, in case you are an intermediate player, you will benefit a lot by joining those courses. In case you guys are interested, I'm putting the links in the description box. Do definitely check it out. The third key point that I'm making here is called as reinvestment risk. Meaning of reinvestment risk. Reinvestment risk होती है कि मान के चलो you have 1 crore portfolio right now. In fact, in 2022, now it has grown to 1.4 CR because आपका 40% run up आ गया in 2024. You are sitting on roughly 40% gains and you are thinking कि यार, okay, I will pull out my profits. So you book 40% profits or 40 lakh profit. Great, awesome, congratulations. What will you do with this money? Okay, now you'll say, okay, fine, I have these 3-4 options. Number one is that I can do FDs, right? Number two, I can go to real estate and मैं उसमें leverage ले लूँगा, right? 40 lakh का down payment कर दूँगा and rest, whatever 1.5 crore I can get in loans. तो मैं 1.5-2 crore के आसपास की real estate खरीद सकता हूँ. I will go and buy debt. Debt means that I will go and invest in bonds. Number 4, I will go and buy gold, right? Or number 5, I will go and buy BTC or Bitcoin, something like this. Now, what is the issue here? Okay, so if we look at these reinvestment options in India, what is it that you have to think? Number one point is that if you are actually going to FDs in 2024, what is happening with FDs? The inflation in the economy is like this. FD rates have barely grown like this, right? Now you can keep on arguing with me कि you know what, WPI inflation, CPI inflation तो 5-6% होता है, this that stuff, and you know the FD rates are giving me 7-7.5%. भाई, you speak about your segmental inflation. Segmental inflation क्या होता है? Segmental inflation is the inflation that you deal with at your level. For example, if you are living in Delhi, Mumbai, Gurgaon, you are paying like 20% rise in your kid's school fee. Segmental inflation for you is not like 4-5%, it is much higher. So आपने ये 40 लाख जो FD में डाल दिए तो बर्बाद ही हो जाएंगे, right? I mean, it's not going to go much. I'm not dissing on FDs. FDs serve a purpose, but to grow your wealth, they are not serving a purpose, okay? Second key point, you will go to real estate. Now, I am a proponent of real estate. I love buying real estate. But the real estate buying should make sense if you are able to scout very good properties. And real estate is not a trading asset. Real estate में trading का मतलब क्या होता है कि आपने आज खरीदा एक घर, right? उसको 2 साल में बेच दिया. Okay. Technically, if you are a white money person, how much long-term capital gains will you pay here? Well, you will pay 20% long-term capital gains on real estate, which is absolute crazy. In equities, it's only 10%. So आपने जो 40 लाख डाल दिया here, real estate, does not make much sense. Okay, what about debt? पहले क्या होता था कि there used to be a inverse cycle between debt एंड इक्विटी, कि जैसे इक्विटी से पैसा निकलता था तो डेट में जाता था, एंड डेट से निकलता था इट यूज टू कम टू इक्विटीज. सो वन कुड आर्ग्यू दैट डेट यूज टू एक्ट एज अ हेज अगेंस्ट इक्विटीज. नाउ दैट रिलेशनशिप इज कंप्लीटली ब्रोकन. नाउ व्हाई हैज इट बीन ब्रोकन? सो उसके लिए आई विल क्विकली कॉमेंट ऑन अ टॉपिक कॉल्ड एज यील्ड कर्व इन्वर्जन. नाउ यील्ड कर्व इन्वर्जन का मतलब क्या होता है कि दिस इज द difference between your 2-year bond returns and 10-year bond returns, so to say. 2-year क्या होता है? This is short term debt. 10-year क्या होता है? This is long term debt. अब usually relationship ये होना चाहिए कि देखो, when you are depositing money on long term basis, इसमें you should get a higher rate of return. मान के चलो कि 8% मिल रहा है, okay? And if you're depositing money for a short term rate, then you should get like lower term return, right? 6% मान के चलो. So this spread needs to be there, and this spread needs to be positive. The difference between long term and short term. Yield curve inversion का मतलब ये होता है कि see, debt market has been broken down to such an extent and it has been skewed to such an extent that ये जो long term debt है, people are not trusting it, okay? And as a result, the spread between these two things has almost come down to zero, and in some cases it has become negative. Now, very, very interesting data here that it became negative here, it became negative here after 2020, right? अब वो वापस zero की तरफ बढ़ रहा है and all that stuff, अगर ये आगे graph plot करें. But why 2008 this became negative and 2020 it became negative? Because debt market has been killed. What do I mean by debt market has been killed? Okay, पहले क्या होता था कि for example, अगर आप corporate debt वगैरह में invest करते थे तो usually क्या होता था, HNIs, आपके FIIs, DIIs, ये लोग करते थे इन्वेस्ट. वाई? बिकॉज द टिकट साइज ऑफ डेट यूज टू बी हाई, राइट? कि जैसे अगर आपको डेट, ITC को डेट देनी है टिपिकली स्पीकिंग, देन यू ईदर इन्वेस्ट वाया म्यूचुअल फंड्स और यू पिक अ हायर क्वांटम ऑफ डेट. कि आपका टिकट साइज 10-10 लाख रुपए निकल के आता था, राइट? सो आई एम जस्ट पुटिंग दैट नंबर, आर्बिट्री नंबर, बट दिस नंबर यूज टू बी वेरी हाई. नाउ व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज दैट डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ डेट. भाई, डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन का मतलब क्या होता है कि छोटा पैसा है डाल दो, ओके? सेम रीट्स, दैट सेम नॉनसेंस, ओके? सो रीट्स में भी यही है कि भाई 500 रुपये में रियल एस्टेट खरीद लो. भाई, ये इतना ये चूना चंपत क्यों लगाते हैं, राइट? इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ द सिंपल रीजन कि दिस इंस्ट्रूमेंट सिस्टमैटिकली इज बीइंग किल्ड अननेसेसरीली. बिकॉज जो मिडिल क्लास इंसान है वो घर नहीं खरीद पाता, तो क्या करेंगे भाई? मिडिल क्लास का पैसा लगाना है, रीट्स ले आते हैं. 500 रुपये में हम अमीर बन जाओ, राइट? यूट्यूबर्स ने बना के वीडियो की रीट्स ये है वो है, यूजलेस, राइट? आई मीन इफ यू एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंड इट सेंसिबली फ्रॉम एन इकोनॉमिक्स प्रिंसिपल परस्पेक्टिव, इट मेक्स नो सेंस, ओके? रीट्स मैं आपको दिखा सकता हूँ ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ें कि वेयर अ हाउस शुड बी वर्थ 4 crores, बट रीट्स के अंदर ले आए से fractional real estate. Now the party that is running this REITs will now sell it to begin with at 6 crores, right? So उन्होंने तो अपना सीधे उठा के 50% प्रॉफिट मार्जिन कमा लिया. So now if you are investing in these, like, you know, crazy items, you are of course going to lose money. So bottom line, without getting into the economics behind it too much, debt has been systematically killed. Real estate has been systematically killed due to what? Due to excessive taxation. So मैं वापस चलता हूँ तो see, FDs are not beating inflation. Real estate is not a tradable instrument. It has low liquidity. It's good. There is no problem in real estate, not REITs. Two very, very different things. Debt, बर्बाद कर दी डेट, ओके? सो मनी प्रिंट कर करके बिल्कुल मतलब बेकार कर दी, राइट. BTC वेरी गुड एसेट. इनफैक्ट वन ऑफ माई प्राइमरी मूवर्स इन द लास्ट 1 year. इट हैज गिवन मी 180% गेन्स इन द लास्ट 1 year. बट इन इंडिया कैन यू सिस्टमैटिकली बाय BTC? नॉट रियली. ओके, व्हाट अबाउट गोल्ड? गोल्ड में भी भाई साहब वही कर दो, SGB कर दो. ओके, SGB कर दो ना. SGB की अपनी खुद अलग समस्याएं एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ, राइट. सो देयर इज अगेन नो पॉइंट और नॉट मच पॉइंट गोइंग हियर. You can find my views to be radical. Honestly, my goal is to give you rational, sensible data. World changes. People who do not change become dinosaurs and they get disrupted. And a lot of people are going to get disrupted in the next few years. So having macro analysis skills, understanding it, I spent crazy amount of time studying the world, right? Studying the world of economics, personally visiting a lot of countries now, studying, meeting a lot of rich people, understanding their viewpoint of investing. I get to do this by running my hedge fund. It has opened a lot of doors for me in order to analyze the markets, all that stuff. And I try to bring that information for you. My goal is not to scare you, but give you relevant, useful information. So on that note, simple point, right? Relating both this, point number 2 and point number 3, कि यार ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया बात है, आप स्टॉक मार्केट से पैसा निकाल लोगे, okay? But where will you take it? This is the primary problem that investors right now are facing. I've been having this conversation with a lot of HNIs कि यार अक्षत, you know what, बहुत अच्छा प्रॉफिट बन गया, we have been watching your videos, we have been speaking with you, all that stuff, मज़ा आ रहा है बहुत. लेकिन what do we do, right? I mean, we started with like 10 crores, now it is at like 14 crores, something like this. What do we do? Should we book profits? What is it that we should be doing? Okay, very simple words. We should follow Mr. Warren Buffett, okay? Have some opportunity cash which you can deploy when opportunities come, and at that same time, do not go undervalued on equities. Equities should still be a significant portion of your portfolio. I am not pulling it out. When we clearly see that there is a massive euphoria, then of course there can be like a deep correction, and then we can somewhat time it. But right now is not the phase of timing that. We are not in that euphoric phase. And I've been one of the very few analysts who has been saying it for the last 2.5 years. बाकी सब अब बरसाती मेंढक आने शुरू हो गए, right? I mean, YouTube पे नए छोटे videos आने लग गए and all that stuff. When crash was going on, no one had the courage to make these type of videos, right? So okay, so anyways, coming back to the topic, and there are final 2-3 points that I will tell you. See, point number 1 is that you should be ready for minor corrections. Now, what is the meaning of minor corrections? मैं आपको इससे दिखाता हूँ. Minor correction means that a correction of around 10%, right? So around 10% correction कभी भी हो सकता है, and ये तो अभी recent history में इतनी बार हुआ है. So मैं आपको वो भी दिखा देता हूँ. For example, take a look from 21, okay? This was a correction roughly 10%, okay? एक और दिखा देता हूँ मैं आपको. This was another correction by more than 10%. 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 So पिछले 3 सालों में ही minor corrections have at least been 4-5 times. Okay. So what should you do when you find minor corrections? This is very important, and this is where my community comes into the picture, because जब corrections हो रहे थे, for example जैसे 4th June को बहुत correction हुआ था, I was there through the entire day guiding my community what to do, etc. So if you are a serious investor, I would still suggest definitely go check out my community. You will learn a lot, right? Okay, so basically आपको करना क्या चाहिए? So you have that cash component, right? This is where you should use it, right? You should not be panicking. लोग क्या करते हैं कि यार अच्छा, you know what, हमने यार यहाँ पे थे, अच्छा मौका था, राइट? 10% करेक्शन आ गया, अब हमारा पोर्टफोलियो खत्म हो गया. नो, योर पोर्टफोलियो हैज़ नॉट बिकम खत्म, राइट? इट विल स्टिल ग्रो लाइक दिस ओनली. वाई? बिकॉज द डेट ऑन द वर्ल्ड इज इंक्रीजिंग. In fact, I will show you one quick graph also here. This has to do with government expenses. ये देखो, ये रहे गवर्नमेंट के इंटरेस्ट रीपेमेंट्स. ये इस तरीके से बढ़े 1997 से, like this, exponentially. People think that stock market returns are directly proportional to the strength of the economy. Economy is going to tatters, okay? It's not doing anything much, okay? In fact, at one point in time, on a 5-year basis, Zimbabwe's stock market was the best performing stock market in the world. अब Zimbabwe की economy ऐसी थोड़ी थी तुर्रम खा की, मतलब बहुत अच्छा वो कर रही हो and all that stuff. But people don't want to understand all these facts. So anyways, coming back to the topic, see, basically divide your portfolio into 2. The first part of your portfolio, it should be in the stock market. Do not go equity light, right? Now it really depends. For example, personally speaking, most 65-70% of my net worth is in equities. आप अपने हिसाब से decision ले लो how much ever you want to invest. On top of that, what I'm doing right now is that I'm building a cash bucket like Mr. Warren Buffett. I'm going to put that money to use when there is for 10% correction, and these type of minor corrections will happen. Now when will they happen? But अगर आप 1.5-2 years if you just wait, you will definitely get these 10%. opportunities. So the split that I'm using is that, hey, I'm trying to create like, let's say, मान के चलो कि if I have 1 CR in the market, okay, then I would at least have like 20 lakhs as my cash bucket, because then I can take advantages of these type of phases. This is literally point 1. Point 2 has to do with the concept of diversification. Since the day I have started my YouTube channel, I have been a firm advocate of diversification. People keep on asking me कि concentrated portfolio होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए. भाई एक simple सी बात बताओ. For example, I purchased HDFC Bank. I have a lot of faith on HDFC Bank. नहीं चला stock, right? What can I do, right? Numbers are good, everything is good, everyone understands, no one is panicking by holding HDFC Bank. On the flip side, I had purchased Avas. It has given like massive run up. HDFC AMC, it has given like crazy run up. Zomato double से भी ज़्यादा हो गया. Equitas, like, Jeevan Small Finance, Punjab National Bank, I can Meta 250% run up and all that stuff. You basically buy like a bunch of stocks, you allocate your money into, some stocks will work, some stocks will not work. That's how investing world operates. If people are telling you otherwise, they are just bullshitting you. अगर आपकी आदत लग गई है कि हम तो Z News देखेंगे, दिन की 50 recommendation लेंगे, you will keep on acting on all those recommendations and you'll go bonkers. You just have to pick your set of 30-40 stocks, be well diversified in that, and that's it. And have faith, right? Even when things are not running. For example, right now is HDFC Bank running? Thoda bahut, okay, now like happy faces, a lot of you might be smiling. But see, in the last 1.5 years, it has not run, right? It's not as if that it's fundamentally bad stock. You pick fundamentally good things, you stick by it. That's the concept of diversification. Now, if you're on a big portfolio, definitely diversify into something like real estate, definitely diversify into something like BTC. All these are good assets. आप अपने हिसाब से pick कर लो, okay? Now, third key point, SIP versus bulk buying. Now I am becoming a more and more proponent of bulk buying over SIP, क्योंकि market को बहुत मजे से डांस कराया जा रहा है, right? And they will keep on doing this. They had done this here also, and they are doing it here also, right? And ये इसी तरीके से dancing चलती रहेगी. Markets will be managed. It's becoming more and more manipulative, so to say. What I would rather do is that I would buy opportunities. Okay, so these are opportunity points to buy, right? I would not go crazy here when the markets are hitting there. If there is a breakdown, मैं bulk खरीद लूँगा. फोन दो देखते हैं, right? So then that is what I would do. Okay, so final key point that, hey, still always go back to that point of reinvestment. Don't keep on waiting for a market crash, because crash I don't know कब होगा और होगा भी. For example, मान के चलो 2008 हो गया, 2020 हो गया था, क्या बिगड़ गया, right? Government just simply printed money, took the markets up within 2008 में तो फिर भी टाइम लग गया था 3-4 साल. 2020 से 2021 तक भाई साहब all time high हो गया था, right? So I mean, it's like absolute crazy, right? So yeah, so that is where we are. These are 5-6 points that you should know. I hope that this made sense. If it did, do press the like button and I'll see you soon.